It's been a long time since we did one of these, but unfortunately, have to revive the channel. That means your Raw reviews are back. I haven't missed them. I don't want to do them. I don't even want to watch Raw, but it has to be done. Have to man up. Have to take some painkillers and watch 3 hours of pain, which is also known as Monday Night Raw. I mean, this could be 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour. It's still unwatchable. It's still shit, but regardless, I mean, you'd rather watch 3 hours. You'd rather watch 1 hour of shite than 3 hours of shite, and that's pretty much. That's a fact. So anyway, we kick off the show. It's obviously there's new rosters. I haven't watched it since the draft, so the rosters are slightly different, but there's no stars here, so it doesn't really matter who's on which show. I mean, does it really matter to me if Finn Balor's on Raw or if he's on SmackDown? No, it's the same shit. I mean, it could be Finn Balor, it could be Ricochet. It's all the same. It's all crap. But anyway, we kick off with Seth Rollins talking about how he's going to be the new challenger to Big E's title, and the fact that Rollins versus Big E is the Universal title match, just kind of, or the World Championship match, WWE Championship match, whatever you call the belt now on Raw, the red belt. The fact that that is the title match, it just shows you how far this company has fallen, man. Seriously, Big E versus Seth Rollins is a title match. Unreal. But Finn Balor comes out, and they have a bit of a brawl. They then proceed to have a match. It is what it is, spot fest match. You would have no idea, based on the match, based on the moves in the match, you would have no idea who's the face and who's the heel, because they just work 50-50. They do the same moves. They're having like a super kick party. You know, Finn Balor hits Seth Rollins with a kick, and then Seth Rollins is firing back with a kick as well. And I mean, for all we know, they're both faces here. In the end, Seth Rollins does the only heel thing in the match, goes for an eye poke, and then hits the stomp. He wins. Finn Balor, couple of months ago, last month, about 6 weeks ago, went from being, you know, Demon Balor. He went from about to take the title off Roman Reigns, beat up the entire bloodline, and now all of a sudden he jobs out in the Survivor Series match. He's one of the first people eliminated, and now he's losing to Seth Rollins in the opening of Raw. So again, it just goes to show you that nobody's booked properly. You go from being hero to zero in like 2.6 seconds. It's garbage, man. Anyway, Seth Rollins wins. We're moving on. It's Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan up next. They're having a promo. They're doing like some sort of fucking contract signing for their match. It leads to a 10 women's tag team match. Sonya Deville reveals the tag team, so it's going to be Team Liv tonight versus Team Becky. Honestly, man, I don't understand why people love Liv Morgan. I don't know why they're getting behind Liv Morgan. I just don't get it, why they're so obsessed with pushing Liv Morgan. I mean, technically, she's not a good wrestler. She's not a good performer. Her character sucks. I mean, yeah, she's hot, but even the way her attire, her appearance at the moment, it looks shit. She doesn't look attractive at the moment with whatever she's doing. You know, she looks more like an e-girl or something like that. But I suppose that'll help her, because when she does get released soon by the WWE, she can always go and make an OnlyFans account, and she can make money that way, because I can guarantee she ain't selling tickets, she ain't making money in WWE, and she'd probably make a lot more money doing that, so a fair play to her. But no, I mean, when she was in the Riot Squad, she did look hot, but I don't know what she's doing now. When she was obviously in that feud with Lana, again, really hot, but at the moment, I don't get it. You know, all the face makeup, the eye drops, like I say, it just looks like your basic, you know, e-girl that you'd see streaming on Twitch or something, you know, desperate for views and desperate for money. But anyway, we've got a 10 women match tonight. Who cares? I don't fucking care. Up next with RK Bro versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Anytime I see the team of Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, I tune out. So this match, shit, no interest. RK Bro win. I like Orton and Riddle. I think it's one, although nowadays the whole thing's just kind of lame. You know, it was good at the start. I think it's kind of died off now. But yeah, there's no good tag teams for these guys to face against. So to me, there's 0 point of this team existing. They may as well just have Orton turn heel and Riddle, or have Riddle turn heel and Orton. I don't know what they're going to do, but how can you have these guys be the tag team champs when literally every other team on Raw is fucking garbage? Makes no sense. As for Roode and Ziggler, split them up. Come on. Ziggler's done. Ziggler should be released. Robert Roode, he was decent in TNA, but he just hasn't done anything, in my opinion. He's been in WWE, and the only fucking memorable thing that I can remember is people marking out over his glorious theme song, which isn't even that good. So, yeah, what a wasted career he's had in WWE. Terrible. Up next with a match between the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. I thought the Alpha Academy was going somewhere. Obviously, I would have preferred just to see it, rather than being a tag team. I think it would have worked better with Otis being a singles competitor, and Gable, obviously, you know, being his trainer, fitness trainer, instructor, manager. whatever, but nah, they're sticking them in tag teams now, and it's just the same shit. They lose every time. Obviously, it's Gable that's taking the pinfall, and it's not Otis that's getting pinned, but at the end of the day, he still looks weak. They still look pathetic. You just don't think they're going to win a match. And in my opinion, they had something good going at the start when they first turned him heel, and he was, injuring people, and he was beating up the Mysterios. But yeah, they don't do that now. Street Profits win. AJ was pretending to be blind. They tried to blindside the Street Profits. Big frog splash from the skinny guy in the Street Profits. He picks up the win. AJ Styles is laying on the floor looking at Omos for about a minute straight. And I don't know what he was looking. I don't know what they were trying to achieve here. Maybe AJ was looking at Omos and thinking, what the fuck has happened to my career? How am I teaming with this big black guy and going absolutely nowhere? I just don't understand it. The guy comes in, obviously TNA World Champion multiple times, came in with a decent name, he went to Japan or whatever. Well, let's be real, by the time AJ Styles came to the WWE 2016, there wasn't many, top draws left or stars left, so AJ came into the company at a time when he did have decent name value and everyone else was kind of shit, because Cena obviously wasn't working full time, and that was pretty much it, so yeah, he did come into the company as a pretty big name, but what they've done to him over the last, year and a half is damn right. I know, it's criminal. I mean, he did have a good debut at the Rumble, then he took on a good feud with Reigns, then he was obviously champ, he had a good run on SmackDown, face that runs the place, all that garbage. Good matches with Cena, good feuds with Cena, obviously he was a champ for a while, but I don't know, the last year and a half, him being on Raw has been a disaster, and the whole Omos thing, it has to go. It has to go, it's no good. I just don't see the point. It looks like they're setting up an AJ turn on Omos, which to me makes zero sense, man. Obviously, this team's going to split up, but Omos has to be the heel. I mean, you can't have a guy who's 7'2" being the babyface when AJ's 5'9" or something. It just doesn't make fucking sense. Plus, AJ's always been a better face than heel, so in my opinion, anyway. So I don't get it. Yeah, why not just have Omos turn on AJ? And who knows? Maybe they could have a decent feud. I don't know, but the whole tag team thing fucking sucks. Up next with Damian Priest versus Apollo Cruz. Damian Priest releases the inner Damian. Lame. Just again, United States Championship match. Damian Priest wins. The guy's got a decent look to him, but I'm not impressed. I'm really not. Anyway, he can speak Spanish and relate to Spanish fans. I mean, that does fuck all for me personally. I couldn't give a shit if he could speak, 10 million languages. It doesn't matter what he says, because he talks shite in every single one of them. Not one memorable moment, not one memorable promo, not one memorable quote. I couldn't even remember one thing Damian Priest has said, and to me, I lost all interest in the guy. He had an 8-month feud with The Miz and Morrison. That was just not necessary. Then we have a vignette with Fear coming to Raw. Fear is coming to change the game on Raw. What do you mean change the game on Raw? He's been on Raw for months. He's been jobbing it to fucking Drew McIntyre. The guy's been losing every single match. But then they show a vignette with him hitting a couple of clotheslines. And they haven't even changed his name or his look or nothing. And now we're supposed to believe that he's this fucking monster. No, he's a guy that's been losing every week with Jinder Mahal. He's been losing 2-on-1 matches to Drew McIntyre. He's been running away for a fake sword. Yet we're supposed to believe that Fear is now coming to Raw to change the game. He's already on Raw. What? Unreal. Fucking what a waste of 36 seconds this vignette was. Fucking garbage. Worst thing on the show by far. By far. Up next with another vignette with Bobby Lashley. This was actually a decent vignette. If you actually look at it, it showed you him, working in the gym. Fucking steroids were pumping out his elbows and his arms and his veins. It was madness. I thought the guy was about to combust, explode. He was about to mutate into the T-Virus or something. I don't know, what do you call the big guy in Resident Evil? I can't remember. He's about to mutate into him. But I mean, this was a decent vignette. But my problem is, why are they doing it now? The guy lost the title 2 months ago. Should they not have done this when he was champ, or when they were building him up to be champ, or when he first came back? I don't know why out of the blue they're just, having a vignette for the dominance of Bobby Lashley. I don't get it. Normally this is something you do to build someone up. Lashley's already been built up. He's already been champ. I don't think you need this. This is for a newcomer. This is something you'd show someone who's in their first year. Maybe they've been on... Maybe they've been on Raw and they've beat a month and they've beat 4 people in consecutive weeks. And then you show a vignette with them being dominant. This guy's been. We don't need to see this. He's been fucking wrestling for 16, 17 years. We know he's dominant. Just made no sense. Up next, Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio versus Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Complete waste of time. I mean, I like Rey, but he really is wasting the last few years of his career teaming up with his son. His son's fucking shite. His son's another David Flair, right? Just because you're related Just because you're the son of your father can be good at something, doesn't mean you're going to be good at it, right? And that is the case here. This Dominic, I mean, there's no body definition on him. He's not particularly fast. He's not really agile. Yeah, he can do some of the moves that Rey does, but even you've got Rey doing these moves and he's like 50 or whatever, and he does them 10 times better than Dominic, who's supposed to be, you know, in his prime. So, just garbage. Fucking garbage. And maybe Rey likes this. Maybe this is an honour. It probably is. You know, Rey probably enjoys teaming up with his son, and maybe it's something he can look back on in, you know, 10 years' time when he's hung up the boots. Although why you would want to watch this in 10 years' time, I do not know. I will never watch this again. When I watch old wrestling, I'm watching stuff from, like, you know, the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era. No one's going to look back and watch this. The only people watching wrestling, 2021 wrestling, is people in 2021. You ain't going to get to 2025 and be like, oh, I think I'm going to watch some wrestling from 4 years ago. That's fucking never happening. Never in a million years. But like I said, maybe Rey enjoys teaming with Dominic, but for me, nah. I mean, why not? Just get rid of Dominic, and Rey can still be a main event level guy for a couple of years. Why not? Why not? Raw desperately needs some fucking star power. Rey Mysterio can be that guy. So personally, that's what I would do. I mean, why not? Give him another title run. Why the fuck not? I would do it. Up next, we have this kind of throughout the show. We had McMahon sets out. It was weird. So Austin Theory stole this egg. I'm not even going to go on about the egg because it's a waste of fucking time. But basically last week, McMahon had a fake egg pretending it to be worth 100 million, and it was from The Rock. It was garbage. It was fucking garbage. But anyway, Austin Theory stole this egg, and when Sami Zayn found out Theory sold it, McMahon rewarded Theory with a WWE Championship match. What sense does that make? And then tonight he tells him, you're going to sit down, Theory, and you're going to watch Monday Night Raw with me. A bit nonsense there for McMahon. And then McMahon kept going on about expect the unexpected. And McMahon looks so old and fragile here, and he can barely speak, can barely hear him. For some reason he can't talk properly. It's sad to see McMahon in this state, it really is. He keeps telling Austin Theory to look at him. He wants Austin Theory to learn about surprises, and then at the end he slaps him, and it all makes sense, the whole surprise thing, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. And normally I'm always like, oh, it was good to see McMahon make an appearance or whatever, but I think we're at the stage now where sadly McMahon doesn't have it anymore, and I don't think him being on TV is a good thing from. I think the last time McMahon was somewhat remotely like decent looking was probably even the Reigns stuff. He looked bad, but he could get away with it. I think the last time McMahon could properly go like either on the mic or in the ring was probably when he was feuding with CM Punk in about 2012 was that. I think that was probably the last time McMahon looked somewhat good looking. I mean, now he just looks old and frail. But I guess he is, 75, so got to expect that. But yeah, McMahon, sad to see. Then with Kevin Owens taking on Big E. If he wins this match, it'll be a triple threat match with Big E, Rollins, and Owens at the next pay-per-view. Owens attacks Rollins, who's doing commentary at the match, dressed up in a fucking weird-looking suit. And Rollins takes the bait, jumps in the ring, starts beating up Kevin Owens. Obviously, Kevin Owens then wins by DQ, so he's added to the match. And then Seth Rollins beats up Big E. And I just thought this was stupid. I get what they're going with. Kevin Owens outsmarted Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins is supposed to be this, you know, smart manipulator. He's the guy that controls everything, and he's supposed to be the guy that fucking sets the plays and does this and does that, and yet he got fooled so easily by Kevin Owens. It just doesn't make you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. Like, Rollins is supposed to be the guy outsmarts everyone, plays the mind games, yet just because Kevin Owens attacked him, Rollins jumps in the ring and hits him back and gets DQ'd and gets Kevin Owens added to the triple threat match. It made Seth Rollins look like a fucking idiot here. But aye, triple threat match in at the next pay-per-view for what it's worth. Up next with Team Liv versus Team Bex. And when you see these 10 women matches, you can just tell that, I mean, out of the women that WWE have, I'm going to be honest, out the entire WWE roster that they have, Raw, SmackDown, there's probably about 5 or 6, and I'm being honest, there's probably about 5 or 6 women that you'd keep, and the rest are fucking garbage. The rest you would just release. And when you see matches like that, this one here, you can tell, it definitely shows. They have this spot where they try and have in every match where One person hits a move, the person that got the move done to them rolls out the ring, then another person comes in and hits the person that just did that move, and then it repeats till everybody gets a move in. But back in the day, they made this look so good. Like when you had that SmackDown ending, you know, the one before the Survivor Series match with the Alliance and Team WWF, like that just flowed so naturally. That looked fucking real. This looks phony. This looks like everyone's waiting until the other person does their move so they can come into the ring. Like they need to choreograph this better, but I think it's just people can't work. So I think that's what it is. I mean, every time they do a move, it looks shit. And then that big fat ass came in. I can't even remember her name, the Scottish chick. How McMahon can... The fact that McMahon lets someone who looks like that on the roster kind of sums up to me that he's fucking doolally. His head's going. She comes in, hits a splash, damn near pancakes someone in the ring. And then Liv Morgan does a maneuver where she like outsmarts her and like runs into the ropes and lightly, and I mean lightly, pulls down the middle rope, and then the fat chick moves at like 1 mile per hour and throws herself at the middle rope, and this looked fucking horrendous. And then on commentary, Corey Graves is putting it over. Great move by Liv. No, a fucking shit move by Liv. I mean, if you didn't know wrestling was fake and you turned it on for this 5 seconds, you would be like, what the hell is this shit? You would. It looked garbage. It looked terrible. To do those type of maneuvers, I think you need to have 2 like agile guys. This is something that like Rey Mysterio could pull off with a bigger dude that's also agile. But with someone who like Liv Morgan, who's not athletic, and then some fucking fat fuck like the you know, what's her name? I can't. Doudrop, bloody fucking poo drop. Just shit, absolute shit. Liv Morgan wins again. Why is she getting pushed? I don't know. And she'll face, I guess she faces Becky 2 belts, or Becky Big Time, or whatever she's calling herself at the moment. New gimmick every week because she's shit and she needs to change everything up. But yeah, they'll face next week. And then we end Raw. Edge returns, gets in the ring. And instead of saying anything good, he talks about, a new set of opponents. And he's mentioned all these opponents that he could face on Raw. And he mentions Finn Balor. Edge. Finn Balor was on the same show as you for like fucking 6 months on SmackDown, so how's he a new opponent? I mean, you could have easily faced him, you know, on SmackDown 2 months ago. You were on the same bloody show. Retarded, absolutely retarded. Surprised he never mentioned Seth Rollins as a new opponent, even though he's feuded with him for 4 months. Then The Miz comes out, crashes Edge's return, and they have a, you know, it wasn't good, come on. I mean, fuck me. MJF blows this shit away. Even Edge brought that up, that the only thing Miz is known for is for getting heat on other shows, but I don't know, that wasn't a good line for the Edge. And again, we just, nothing good here for the Edge, basically just talking about, I've got a new set of opponents that I can have matches with. I mean, who cares? If we want the fucking ruthless rated R superstar back, give us storylines. I couldn't give a fuck about a new set of opponents, right? Edge should be going after the title. Not worrying about, I want to work with this guy and I want to work with that guy. Sounds like CM Punk the second, right? Just give us some good shit and maybe make Raw watchable for like 10 seconds or something. That's about as good as it gets. Anyway, there you go, guys. I'm going to give this show a 0 because it was shit. It was absolute shit. I'm giving it a 0. That's it. Let me know what you thought. Till next time. Peace.